All right, YouTube, it's just the boys today. Me and Jack talking ball. We talk
Thunder
spring football.
in my thighs.
Are you ready?
What?
Why were you doing this?
Oh, I was saying and my thighs.
Oh, and Jack's thighs.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Great
watch and
intro.
enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy.
Like, subscribe. Hello, and welcome to Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool's college football podcast, brought to you today by the Brandon Walker Smoking Lounge in West Point, Mississippi, located in the rear of the smokestack on Main Street, just across the railroad track, is the Brandon Walker Smoking Lounge. You walk right through the beer store and the cigar store, and you land right in the smoking lounge where you can watch our one TV. You can look around at our many artifacts. You can celebrate Brandon Walker history. Again, sponsored by the Brandon Walker Smoking Lounge in West Point, Mississippi, in the rear of the smokestack. It's good to have a new sponsor.
Are women allowed in or no?
No, God, no.
Good.
No,
I was hoping that was the answer.
Katie's not even allowed for the ad read.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one in the company that can't be allowed for ad reads.
Yep.
So we got a new sponsor, and we thank the Brandon Walker Smoking Lounge. I'll have pictures later on my Twitter, so everybody be looking forward to that. Hi, Jack.
Hey, what's going on?
Just the boys today?
Just the boys today. We have the empty seat in case Katie stops by, but she is being, as they call them, a girl boss. She's in a big-time meeting, I believe.
You know, for a company that's not as corporate as other companies, and for a company that's different from other companies, we sure have a shit ton of fucking meetings around that place.
I would actually say we're just becoming corporate as hell.
I've never seen a company with as many meetings as we have. We have, I'm going to say, in that building, 12 meeting rooms, and they are almost never empty.
Did you hear where this actually ties into college football? We're giving out helmet stickers now on the social team for good jobs.
Really?
Yeah. So if somebody on the social team does something good, they get a sticker, and then
okay. I wonder what kind of sticker somebody got for canceling wrestling like a fucking idiot. Anyway, It doesn't matter. We're having fun.
This has been great, but
I'm enjoying it.
No, I am. No, I was just the stickers almost isn't corporate. It brings me back to kindergarten. Maybe you even had a sticker system in your house for the kids, or maybe your wife did.
No, I have a 7-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old. Sticker system seems too infantile for them.
Yeah.
So
over here at Barstool Sports, some people got stickers today. Katie did not. I did not. So, but the whole team got one. So
you did.
We did get one. But some people got two.
Is there a helmet sticker at Ohio State or Michigan that every player gets one?
I think so, because I think if at the end of the year everybody has one, I think if you get one for a win, and we posted the most videos we've ever posted in a month or something.
So if you're an Ohio State player and you never play a minute, but they go 12-0, at the end of the season you got 12 helmet stickers.
Yes, and you also you get stickers for practice, I think, more than in-game stuff. So Dawson, if he was at Ohio State and he was the walk-on kicker, if he was hitting those practice team extra points, he got a lot of stickers.
Damn, that boy's stickered up.
Stickered up.
All right, so here we're going to get right to it. It's just college football today, no mess. We're not talking about what do we talk about when the girls are here? Stickers and NSYNC and puppies and periods. No, we're not talking about any of that today.
Nope.
We're just talking football. We're talking ball. Just two dudes talking ball.
Yeah, and there's some ball going on right now. Spring ball.
All right. A couple things. Now, here's your layout. We got a couple news items we're going to talk about, just me and Jack. We're going to kick it around. And then I said, Jack, I want to rank something. And I wrote a list. And here, my list is going to be the top 10 teams that don't play every year but should. So it's really 20 teams. The top 10 rivals that do not play every year right now but should. And it's time, as a college football populace, to put our foot down and say, bitches, play.
Yes.
Utah and BYU, play every year. West Virginia and Pitt, play every year. Quit doing this. Oh, they're in another conference. Oh, shut the fuck up. Play. So I've got the list of, you know what, that's a better list. Top 10 teams need to shut the fuck up and play.
I love this.
How about that?
This is
that's mine. And your top 10 list is what?
My top 10 list is looking at the top 10 annoying fan bases on Twitter since Twitter has been in our life. So, I know Twitter launched in 2008, but this is more post 2012. So, if a fan base was really annoying to you on message boards in 2003, they don't count for this list.
Okay. All right. It's simply a Twitter list and people who have organized into Twitter armies.
Yes, and there's a lot of them.
There are a lot of them, and they're organized these days. Most of them are just the same as the other Twitter armies. They're very similar. They'll have the same kind of guys. They'll have the leaders that have like 10,000 followers.
Yes.
Then a lot of the soldiers will have 75 followers.
Yep.
And then you have the grunts who are the 0 follower burner accounts.
Yes. And
they get most of the work. They get most of the work done.
And those people may be the people that have the 10,000 follower accounts.
Maybe, but they're
the ecosystem of college football Twitter. You think it's a lot of people, but it's just a lot of accounts.
It's a lot of accounts. It's like Minifans. It's like 200 people with 2,000 accounts.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do those two, and then we'll of course at the end tier the helmets, which I look forward to doing.
We're going to tier that. Noah, get that set up. I know it's going to be a little bit more difficult with Zoom, but
I can't wait. We're going to get the helmets tiered. Just real quick because I know it's going to be shouted out on YouTube and all the comments and everything. Thick thighs save lives, Jack. Is that what we're going with today?
What? I mean,
I'm looking right down Main Street here.
Well, I forgot we were doing it on Zoom. I mean, yeah. And
what do you mean you forgot we were doing it on Zoom? You still would have been sitting in the same fucking chair.
I know. I'll be honest. I just didn't think it through. It's really nice in New York City, and then I hopped on here, and I immediately thought to myself, "Oh, this is gonna be." And I deserve it. They're pale.
You're wearing the shorts that a 7th grade offensive line coach would have worn in 1992.
No. They're actually not that short when I stand up, I swear.
All right. Well, you're just setting it out for everybody today. So hello, ladies. There's Jack. His DMs are open.
Yeah, the 3% ladies that listen to this podcast and watch.
In April.
Seems pretty high.
It's actually higher than probably some others. How many women are listening to? You heard them?
And there's my one appearance of the year.
One too many, buddy. All right, so here we go. A little bit of news. It's been in the news for a couple of weeks now. I guess Hugh Freeze was the first guy to really mention it and say it like an idea, like, oh, Hugh Freeze had an idea. And shockingly, it wasn't to call whores. It was that we should take spring games and spring practices and spruce them up a little bit. Let's add a little life to the spring. Let's add a little stakes. Let's add a little get people in the stands. And by doing that, we're going to play teams in our state that aren't SEC teams. We're going to play teams that you would normally not play. Like Auburn, for example, would play Troy. Alabama would play UAB, stuff like that. Mississippi State, I guess Southern Miss. Georgia would play a really shitty team in their state like Georgia Tech. Just somebody you don't normally play, and it's an interesting idea. I don't know if it's getting any legs. It seems like just something we're talking about in April because there's nothing else to talk about. Jack, do you think there's any legs to this eventually?
It's so difficult because football is such a physical sport. Obviously, college basketball teams have these behind closed doors scrimmages before the season all the time. You hear about them. You'll get tweets from John Rothstein about the scores of them. But
you don't get concussions in college basketball.
Exactly. And I think in those games there's like, how could you do it? I mean, I guess 7-on-7, but then that's just kind of lame too.
Well, I think you'd have to do it. You'd have to play it like a football game. You'd have to do it like that. Now, I think Hugh Freeze bringing it up is rich because a head coach floating this idea, he probably just wants to be the first to say it and get credited for it, because an SEC coach saying, oh, let's play Troy in the spring sounds great on paper. Oh, my God, does it sound great? Until that SEC team loses their spring game 17-7 to Troy, and all of a sudden he's got a hot seat going on in fucking April. The first time the starting running back tears his ACL trying to get meaningless yards against Troy, the whole thing falls apart.
just the entertainment aspect, obviously outside of the injuries, but like if LSU lost to Southern,
Yeah.
it would just be phenomenal. I mean, a Hugh Freeze in his first 2 months on the job loses to, like you said, Troy. There's the injuries aspect. I guess you would respond to that if you were so pro having these games. It would be, well, they get injured in spring games already, or they get injured in spring practice already. So it's not like that's a foreign obstacle. But also, this just seems to me like we're commercializing college football a little bit more. It would be, I mean, you know who would love this? ESPN executives have probably tried to do this forever.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's just another game they can put on TV.
Give me anything that I can put on a Saturday in April. Yes, they will probably take it. I just don't think. I think at the end of the day, and there was a revolution about 20 years ago. For about 10 years, spring games were they were on ESPN. Everybody wanted to watch them. They were huge. 90,000 people at Alabama, 70,000 people at LSU. I think we've kind of circled around to the fact that apathy has set in for spring football because it just doesn't fucking matter. And there's nothing that matters coming out of spring football. Nothing you see in spring is really that big of an indication of what you're going to see in August. Now, you told me 2 weeks before the season we'd be playing some scrimmages against Troy. Okay, I think we got something.
Yep.
But April? No, I just don't think spring football is ever going to matter. And why would it? Why would it need to? You have the best regular season in sports. You have now an improved postseason, I hope. Why do you need something in April to prop things up? I don't really understand the need for it, and I don't think there's – the SEC is the SEC, and they'll watch their team play in February, whatever. Would you see a full crowd for Cal versus Cal State Bakersfield? I just don't see it.
For those schools, they may not even need to do it. I would assume those California schools, it would somehow be illegal in the state of California to even set that up. Now, the issue, or not even the issue, why they're doing it is because, I mean, think about how much money you can make off of this. If you're Auburn, if you're LSU, hell, even if you're, you know, a lower school. Well, I was going to say UCF, but they're in the Big 12 now. But schools that have big-time followings, East Carolina could make a lot of money. Obviously, East Carolina would play somebody like North Carolina, and then within that game, they would probably be paid. It would kind of be like an FCS situation where you get paid to play, and then you make money, and then UNC makes all the money from people coming to the game.
Yeah, that's great. And then Holton Ahlers goes out and tears his ACL because he's trying to beat North Carolina on April 12th.
Yeah, and the spring game apathy happened. I remember it vividly. I remember the photo in Sports Illustrated when it was like, oh, my God, I can't believe this many people went to Nick Saban's first spring game. But then around 2014, 2015, the schools kind of stopped giving up on it, too, because they didn't want injuries. It's a controlled scrimmage at this point instead of a true scrimmage where it was there's a blue team, there's a white team, and they're going at it for 60 minutes. No, now it's like 10 minutes of now
it's 10 minutes. It'll be situational. It'll be like the offense just has 10 plays. They'll do 10 plays from the 40, and then they'll do 10 plays from the 10. Like, every school does it different. Like I just don't see that. And listen, I live and breathe college football, but you know, I'm good without it in the spring. And plus, I don't want Hugh Freeze to get credit for any idea ever, unless it's again calling whores. Yes,
ESPN is televising one spring game this year, and it's Colorado. That's the only one. I'm sure SEC Network will put everyone on because.
Speaking of, I just want to give a shout out real quick to Casey Smith's son. He is a walk-on at Colorado this year.
It was really nice of Dion to do that too. This kid was a D3 prospect, and Dion said, "We're going to give you a shot because you have a D1 heart."
I don't think he's going to NFL, but I think he could be a good practice body there at Colorado. He's going to learn a lot, and he'll be, you know, he's getting married soon anyway.
Yeah, we actually posted a video of him in spring practice yesterday. Travis Hunter just ran a vertical route right past him, but man, did he look good running after Travis? But you know,
he's a hell of a locker room kid, man. He's a hell of a locker room kid.
Travis and Shador need reps, and
shout out to Casey Smith's kid, who is just going on to great things. She'll be back eventually. I don't know, once he retires. Anyway, so there's a bit of news that I saw this morning in college football. Kliff Kingsbury is back in the college game.
Okay, so
Okay. Kliff Kingsbury is interesting to me. His name is bigger than his accomplishments. That's just a fact right now. That's just truth. The man coached at Texas Tech, had a losing record, somehow parlayed that into being an NFL coach where he didn't exactly do very well, okay? But his name is gigantic, and it's something – he's been the guy over the last 6 months where if Team A needed an offensive coordinator, or even if they needed a head coach, how about Kliff Kingsbury? How about Kliff Kingsbury? Well, okay, how about it? Well, now he's going to be the quarterback's coach at USC. What an interesting career this guy's had. This guy has had the same stops that normal coaches have. He's just doing it all out of order.
it's and it's not even out of order in reverse. It's just mixed up. It's like you randomized it.
Yeah, you randomized somebody's career and it spit out Kliff Kingsbury. Like, you could see somebody going from progression USC quarterback coach into Texas Tech head coach into Arizona Cardinals. No. He went ahead and did the Cardinals head coach first, and then now is the USC quarterbacks coach. Now, that being said, you could do a lot worse than Kliff Kingsbury for quarterback coach. But my question, Jack, is quarterbacks coach a name you only know from a team when things are either going really good or really bad?
Usually,
maybe not even really bad. You don't even complain about the quarterbacks coach when things are going bad. You complain about the offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Usually, it's guys coming up who are maybe an offensive coordinator eventually. Maybe they'll get picked off by another school, and you hear about it from your local beat reporter. Man, they're really going to miss this guy. And you're like, Will they?
Usually it's the quarterback. It's who played quarterback for your team 8 years ago.
Yeah. And I assume it matters and helps with quarterbacks being recruited. But I don't think Kliff's going to be doing that. I think Kliff took this job because, one, it's in L.A. Two, he needed to get a job if he needed to show to Arizona for his contract purposes that he's really working to get back into football. And then also, three, I'm sure he likes football enough to game plan stuff. But you think he's going to be on the phone with these quarterbacks?
If I were thinking about a school that needed a quarterback coach the least, USC was probably way up there because they got the best quarterback in the country for this year, and then they got a 5-star for the next 3 or 4 years, and then they have Lincoln Riley as their head coach, who just churns out Heisman Trophy quarterbacks. This seems like all right, let me put on the polo, let me go to the press conference, and let me cash checks.
Yeah, cash both checks. I'm sure USC's not even paying him that much. Did they even have a quarterbacks coach? Imagine if you were the quarterbacks coach in USC and you were like, man, I really got a great opportunity here. And then Lincoln calls you up and like, hey, bud, so you're just an assistant offensive quality control guy now because we got Kliff coming in.
Well, the quarterbacks coach last year was just the 4th-string quarterback.
Yeah, yeah, it was the guy who went to, what's the school? DeMatha? Not DeMatha.
Yeah, DeMatha, right?
DeMatha, that is
No, DeMatha's in Maryland. You're talking about
what's the one?
De La Salle?
Yeah, the one that Mark Sanchez, Barkley, they all went to. Yeah. Bryce Young went to.
Is that modern day? That's modern day, right?
Day.
Yeah.
He was good enough to get an offer from USC, but he ain't much. He was a good high school quarterback though. It's
kind of depressing that I could just rattle off that many good high schools in a state I've never even hardly been to.
I will say though, I know that Matter Day helmet anywhere, and that goes back to our helmets discussion, which we'll rank later in the show.
Well, we're going to tier them, not really rank them.
Oh yeah, you know who would love the Matter Day helmet if it was in college football? Casey.
Who?
Casey.
I thought Casey's son, which I think he transferred for a year. And Katie Stats is off being a girl boss right now?
Yeah, she's a girl boss. Yeah, she ain't here right now. She's being a girl boss.
That empty chair kind of helped me with that. Thank you very much. All right, so here we go. Top 10 teams that need to play every year and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
No, the order was off. Top 10 teams need to shut the fuck up and play every year, okay? College football is built on the back of rivalries. And sometimes politics get in the way of rivalries. Obviously, one of the most famous examples is Texas and Texas A&M not playing for the last 10 years. That's bullshit. They should have shut the fuck up and played. Now we will see them very soon playing every year because they'll be in the same conference. But there are others that get in the way. There are others that let politics get in the way of playing every year. We don't know if Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, we don't know when they're going to play together again after this Big 12 thing ends. So they're going to be added to the shut the fuck up and play list eventually. But right now, it's just teams that don't play that should play. And if I knew where the notes app was on my phone, I would have already talked. All right, I've got 10, okay? And I've got a bonus. I got a bonus too, okay? I'm creating 2 new rivalries.
Oh, wow. That's also a pretty good topic we can do one day. Create a rivalry.
Okay, we could do that. And if you want to just take that rabbit trail and go off on it, because I got 2. I want to create 2 rivalries right now that should be rivals but really aren't, okay? And they're number 10 and number 9. Number 10, tell me over the next 10 years, as long as Lincoln's there, why USC and Oklahoma shouldn't play every year.
Yes, I love that.
USC and Oklahoma right now, because they are both blue bloods. Yep. They are both big-time programs with national title potential, yes. They are both Heisman Trophy creating places. They both won national titles in the last 25 years. They're both at the top of the sport every year, and now they have one thing tying them together where Oklahoma fucking hates USC because of that bitch out west. Why not? Let's play every year.
Imagine that game.
I almost think I want to start a rule in college football. If a coach leaves a university with years remaining on his contract, wherever he goes, he has to play his old team the next year.
At his old team's place.
Either way. But I'm just saying, if you leave years on your contract, you have got to, you've got to return and play them the next year.
Yeah.
Now, if you're satisfied with your contract and you're just moving on, fine, whatever. No harm, no foul. But if you have 2 years left on your contract, say, you know what, I'm going out here. You got to come back and play. You got to come back and face your players.
And this opens up coaching free agency because guys, instead of re-signing, they'll just be like, you know what, I'm going to test the waters.
Imagine last year, LSU at Notre Dame in week 6.
Hell, send it to them. Send it to them. The team can pick too. Send the LSU boys up north in November.
I'm just saying. I think I've stumbled on one of the greatest ideas. We could save college football that doesn't need saving.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest ideas I think that's ever been uttered on this show.
It's probably the first. Yeah. Okay. Number 9, which somebody's going to be creating a graphic out of this. Number 9, and this is another rivalry I would like to start, okay? Because these teams once played for a national title. These teams share pretty much a geographical area. They're a lot closer than you think they are, and they recruit in the same circles. Who do you think I'm talking about here?
In the same area?
Same general area. They're in 2 different states, same general area, and they played for a national title in the last 10 years.
Is it Alabama and Clemson?
It's not.
Okay.
It's Florida State and Auburn.
Oh, yeah. They're right down the road.
They're like 3 hours apart. They're very close.
Much closer than Florida State and Miami.
And they both play they both have national title potential. They both have passionate fan bases. You know, Florida State has to waste their time playing in the ACC when, especially when they're good. They have to waste time playing teams that don't care about football. Why not every year Florida State and Auburn get together? You see how fucking electric Florida State and LSU was last year?
I know.
Imagine Florida State and Auburn every single year, which Auburn needs a new rivalry like I need a third tit, but doesn't matter. If I threw Florida State and Auburn together, that's a rivalry that would work.
Can you believe what the ACC has become? It's almost...
Not really. I mean, yeah, I can because it's kind of what it's always been. It's been a basketball-first conference with football powers in it, right?
Yeah, I guess it's
always been that.
But they don't. If you sat down the commissioner,
but if I told you in 2002 that we were going to add over the next 20 years, we already had Florida State, we're going to add Miami, we're going to add Virginia Tech, we're going to add all this, and you think, oh my God, you've made a basketball powerhouse into a football powerhouse, and it didn't really happen that way.
Yeah, I thought they were trying to, because if you sit all these commissioners down, they care about one thing only. It's football. Like, they care about basketball. Without a doubt, you make money playing basketball. But if you, I mean, look at what the SEC's become. It's a basketball conference now, too.
Come in.
Yeah. Wow, that was weird. Yeah, it was a ghost.
You can do that when it's just the boys.
Yeah. Looked like a ghost.
Here's my eight. Here's my 8 teams that should shut the fuck up and play. That was 9 and 10. Do you like the new rivalries, Florida State and Auburn?
Yes, and great color matchup. It's a little bit of a mess, but I kind of like it.
Well, let's play with this idea for a little bit. Let's create another rivalry. Let's all right. There's going to be cross conferences. What do you think? Where do you want to go? You can go northeast. You want to go out west. Do you want to create? What do you want to do?
Let's think about the Midwest.
Okay. All right. So,
Does Penn State?
Okay, I like it. A good start. They're in Pennsylvania. They could go straight down.
It's Ohio.
Penn State and Tennessee. Throw them crazy.
I think a Penn State West Virginia rivalry would be great. Or no. Penn State Tennessee.
My Tennessee rivalry sounded pretty good.
Penn State, Tennessee, and also their fans would just bitch at each other which stadium's better. That would be half the rivalry.
Yeah, they both have gigantic stadiums. They're both crazy. I don't hate Penn State, Tennessee as a new rivalry.
I really like that. Big Ten SEC as well. It's great.
Okay, all right.
Is there a team out west that we can boost? How can we boost up Oregon?
Well, I was thinking about Oregon, but it's so hard because USC, UCLA are leaving, so they already have the Pac-12. There's not really a rival too close. I had USC Oklahoma, which is kind of putting together a West Coast team.
Yeah.
Not to use them twice, but Oregon Oklahoma would kind of work.
Yeah. Oregon. I would have put together Oklahoma, Georgia, but now obviously they're in the same conference.
I wish Maryland was better because then you could have Under Armour versus Nike.
You really could. The Northeast, there's not much you can do. Penn State's, because Syracuse has kind of fallen off. Boston College doesn't really have any juice. I guess Oregon, you could introduce North Dakota State to the FBS and say, hey, Oregon and North Dakota State, you have to play every year. Green on green.
That's kind of mean to North Dakota State.
No, they would welcome.
They'd probably be up for it.
Who should Texas play every year?
Other than Texas A&M?
Ohio State?
No, Texas Alabama wasn't terrible.
It was not.
I wouldn't. Auburn. How about Auburn Clemson with Dabo against Freeze? See who can stack the biggest pile of bullshit on their sideline.
Yeah, well, what would be the best? I think we missed it. It's the Battle of Death Valley, Clemson and LSU.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And then every year, whoever wins the game gets to call it the real Death Valley for the rest of the time. For that year.
You know what? Live conversation. I'm tagging into Unnecessary Roughness Twitter right now. I'm going to say, hey, create a new rivalry.
Hey, create a new rivalry.
What they say. Challenge. Create a new non-conference rivalry where 2 teams have to play every year.
It can make sense or make no sense at all.
Every year. Think of big stakes and passionate fans.
Give them an example. Penn State, Tennessee.
Penn State versus Tennessee.
I don't want to ruin the USC Oklahoma for them.
Yeah. Give us your best. Create a rival.
It does sound like a.
Oh, like a feature that would be on the new NCAA game?
Create a rival.
We could have done a whole show on Create a Rivalry.
We could have called it Create a Rivalry. Florida, who could
challenge? Create a new non-conference rivalry where two teams have to play every year. Think of Big State Sebastian fans example: Penn State versus Tennessee. Give us your best Create a Rivalry.
Yep.
I'm tweeting it out. We'll see what they say, and then we'll circle back to that in the end.
You know what's a good one?
What?
And then we'll go on to the rest. I think Miami, Ohio State would be a good one every year. There's some history there.
It is hard when you have to suspend disbelief for one of them being bad right now.
I know.
So you think, oh, Ohio State, Alabama are both at the top every year, but there are other teams that are capable of being at the top that just aren't right now. Like Florida, Ohio State would work.
I don't want to alert any Miami fans. I'm sure they have a rebuttal to this, but things ain't looking good, man. Their recruiting class for 2024 I think they have 3 commits, and then the Ruiz guy, the Life Wallet guy, Life Wallet's down like $30 billion. They haven't reported any of their earnings because it's such a bad look, I guess. I guess they're having potential legal issues. Miami may be having some serious issues. Now, if Miami fans want to rebuttal that, I welcome any responses on Twitter.
Did you see the commitment Florida got yesterday?
Yes.
Did you notice anything about it?
No.
They got a commitment from 4-star running back.
Yes.
Look him up. I want you to look at his 24/7 page and tell me if you notice anything about him. A little pause music. We need the old NCAA pause music where it's just fight songs, right? As you look him up. Da, 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 da.
Daniels?
Kanan Daniels. 4-star running back. What do you see about him?
Kanan Daniels.
That's his name. He's a 4-star running back. Big-time recruit. Good-looking kid. Committed to Florida yesterday. Florida's off to a great start in the 2024 recruiting class.
West Point, Mississippi.
From West Point, Mississippi. He's a West Point Green Wave. I'm sitting in Starkville, Mississippi right now, but a West Point, Mississippi 4-star committed to the University of Florida yesterday. I got to get to fucking work.
Yep.
I got to get to work.
Y'all do throw it a lot, but you got to
Who at West Point? West Point runs the ball 90% of the time.
No, I was talking about Mississippi State.
Oh no, we got new. We're going to run it now.
You're going to run it now, right? Because the App State guy came in.
Yeah, we're going to be a running back destination.
I like that.
I swear to God, right here in front of everybody, NCAA, if I have to give this kid 40% of my salary every year, I will do it. That's my promise I make to everybody right now. I never met the kid, but I'm going to meet him by tomorrow.
All right, Kanan Daniels, but watch out.
Kanan Daniels just made a lot of money on this show. Yeah, no, whatever. Good luck to him if he decides to go to Florida. It's a great university.
Yeah.
All right, so here you go. 8 teams that need to shut the fuck up and play. This one doesn't really need to shut the fuck up and play. They play every now and then, but I feel like they should play every year. Clemson and Georgia. Clemson and Georgia are 2 power brokers in college football right now. They've been 2 of the most important programs over the last 10 years, and they played a couple times, but they're geographically so fucking close. And a lot of the Clemson legends that have built this dynasty, they went into Georgia and got them. Deshaun Watson from Georgia, Gainesville, Georgia, I believe. Trevor Lawrence from Cartersville, Georgia. Like, they've gone into Georgia and gotten a lot of players. Georgia, Clemson should play every year.
And they had some great games, man.
And hell, 2 years ago they opened the season. Georgia wins a 10-3 game or 10-7. I can't remember exactly what it was. They go on to win the national title. But that's not a really shut the fuck up and play. That's more like, hey, it's awesome when you play every year.
Yes.
Oklahoma and Nebraska should shut the fuck up and play every year. I know. They played the last 2 years, and Oklahoma walked the dog on them both times. But if Nebraska is going to get back to where they feel like they should be, and they're going to get back to respectability and being a big-time program, playing Oklahoma every year could be an avenue to that. Being in a big game, conjuring dreams of the game of the century, conjuring these images of the past. would help them. I think Oklahoma, Nebraska, even though it was a laugher last year, it was still the most important and most looked forward to game that weekend.
Yes. No, I mean, also, if you remember, the fans were so excited for that. People were, I mean, I think that game was put at noon, and Oklahoma the year prior wanted it at 8 p.m. or something. And the Big 12 pretty much screwed them over, and it had a lot to do with them going to the SEC. If I don't, maybe I'm making that up, but I think there was a little bit of something there.
Number 6 on the list of teams that should shut up and play every year, Notre Dame and Michigan should play every year. I love when Notre Dame and Michigan get together. It's a classic rivalry. They don't play every year right now. I feel like they should play every single season, no matter what. Those two uniforms, those two teams, those two songs, they belong on the field together.
Yes, they do.
Number 5, teams that shut the fuck up and play every year. And these two teams now really starts my hatred here of teams that should shut the fuck up and play every single season, okay? Miami and Florida, there's no reason you don't play every year, okay? Now, I know Florida's going to say, but we play the SEC and we already played Florida State out of conference. Shut the fuck up, okay? There are 3 major rivalries in Florida. Florida State, Miami, Florida State, Florida, and Miami and Florida. The first 2 play every single season. This one doesn't. Why? Why not? They should play every single season. There's 3 schools at the top of that state. Why don't they play all of them every year? I don't know why.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with your first point. That out-of-conference schedule just would look brutal.
I think Florida's kind of a bunch of pussies, if we're being honest.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you.
Number 4, and this is getting fixed very soon, but they spent the last decade not playing, and it was cowardly and bullshit. Texas A&M, shut the fuck up and play. You soon will, but you still should be ashamed for the last decade of cowering from each other.
Yep.
Number 3, West Virginia and Pitt should play every single fucking year. Every single year, West Virginia and Pitt should play. They opened this. I don't know if they opened it. They either opened it or played the second week last. No, they opened it, right?
They opened it. It was a Thursday night. Penn State played Purdue. West Virginia.
It was like
played
a 1-point
Pitt.
game. It was an absolutely incredible football game. It was awesome. I loved it. They should play every year. Number 2, Kansas and Missouri. Now you might say, why is Kansas and Missouri so high? Because they fucking hate each other. This is hate that goes beyond generations. They hate each other. And Missouri, who doesn't really belong in the SEC, has tried to fake rivalries with Arkansas. They've tried to fake rivalries. They can't do it. So if you're going to be in the SEC and not really have an in-conference rival, fucking bring in Kansas and have you a hated game every single year. I don't know why they don't do it. Kansas, Missouri should play every year.
Yes, I missed that.
And my number 1, just because it's the best nickname I think it's the best nickname for a game in college football. Utah and BYU should play every single year. The Holy War, we should never have a season without a Holy War. They played a lot, and they played a lot recently, but I think they've only got 2 scheduled until in the next 10 years. They didn't play last year. Utah, BYU need to play every single year. That's my list of teams. Is just shut the hell up and play.
It really stinks that Utah and BYU don't play every year. I almost was looking at the schedule last year and was like, when are they going to play? And they just didn't.
Okay, that was one of the ones you just assumed they play every year, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, and you're thinking about their schedule. Okay, well they play the Pac-12 and then they play BYU. So whatever. And then they just didn't play. You're like, when did that game happen? And no, it didn't happen.
It's one of the most hate-fueled rivalries we have, and it's just always, even when the game stinks, it's a great one to have.
And I think West Virginia Pitt last year was a great example of why these teams should play every year. That game felt so important last year.
Yeah, especially for 2 middle-of-the-road teams, and it sold out. Heinz Field or whatever it's called now. So that goes to show the fan bases want it. There's so much nostalgia in bringing it back, and it matters. And you could tell how much it mattered to even the players. They felt the energy and whatnot, and they were young when it was a real quote-unquote rivalry.
All right, so we'll let you do your list. I got an announcement real quick. So the Creator Rivalry tweet is doing very, very well. So we're going to circle back to that in a minute. I think it's probably going to bump tearing the helmets, Jack.
Oh, no.
I think it's probably going to bump.
I'm sorry. Turn off the screen recording.
Fuck. All right, whatever.
Next
all right, Jack.
week.
Give me...
No, but the good thing is we have all off season.
We got next week, yeah.
All right, I got my list ready to rock and roll.
Go.
All right. This is, for a reminder, and maybe you skipped the early part or whatnot, this is the top 10 most annoying fan bases on Twitter since Twitter was invented. Or I should say 2012, because who...
Just say on Twitter, Jack. They understand.
All right. And
you don't have to say since Twitter was invented. How would it be on Twitter if it wasn't invented yet?
Who knows? All right?
All right, just relax.
I kind of liked it with saying Twitter 8 times in the name. It almost...
Here are the top 10 most annoying fan bases on Twitter since Twitter was created by Twitter president in 2000 whatever.
Yes.
Thanks, Twitter.
Since Jack took over for Twitter in 2012. All right. At number 10, we start off with the Texas Longhorns. This may be a little bit low, but they knocked off some annoying fan bases. You know, I don't want to ruin it by saying who's not on this list, but we can get to that, the honorable mentions at the end. But Texas was a team that I knew I needed to have in the top 10. They would be a lot more annoying if they were just a tad bit better, because they don't even have much confidence anymore. The confidence is the rating is going down a little bit.
No, they're like a starting pitcher who's about 5 years past his prime. Like
yes.
He can still rear back and throw it every now and then, but he's just going through the motions.
He's really going through the motions, and something in there. It exists. Yeah. But it's
and
not...
you still and when he's coming to your town, you want to buy a ticket and go see him just to say you saw him.
Yes.
But it's not the same.
Pedro Martinez on the Mets. Number 9. This is a team that I just really can't believe how many fans exist and how confident and cocky they are. And they've gotten a lot more cocky over the past few years with their new coach, South Carolina, at number 9. That Twitter fan base is something, man. I made a joke about Spencer Rattler smoking a cigar, and you would have thought I said South Carolina shouldn't be an accredited university.
You're right. Clemson dominated them for so long. The last 10 years, dominated them so thoroughly that they were kind of hiding. They're like if you were in the woods and you kicked over a log and then bugs just started scattering.
Yes.
All of a sudden, they see sunlight for the first time, and here they are. I think I said something the other day about Mississippi State, and a South Carolina fan was like, "You're a fan of fail state. Really sorry. We're the same fucking team. Well, you can't joke about my team if you're a South Carolina fan."
You see, that's the thing. And they've also were cocky before they beat Clemson this year. It was very interesting.
Listen, hey, don't confuse this for me saying Shane Beamer's not a good coach, because he is, and he's done a good job. There was a period in last season before they beat Tennessee and Clemson where they were not sure about him. Like they did not. If you ask South Carolina fans at the end of October if they were happy with their season, no, they wanted to fire their offensive coordinator. They didn't know if Shane Beamer. Then they beat Tennessee and Clemson, and they're back on board, whatever. But there was a time in last season where they weren't 100% sure. Go. Sorry.
This is a team that has, if you ranked this list back in 2014, would be at the top of the list.
This is number 8.
This is number 8, though.
I'm guessing this is Oregon.
No.
Florida State.
Yes.
Okay.
Florida State fans almost were the original Twitter mafia. They talking about the Noles took over Twitter. They were, you tell your kids about FSU Twitter. Now they still roll deep, but they've kind of been supplanted by others. And they haven't learned the new ways of shit talking and the proper memes. So they're still using old stuff, but they're coming back. And they're especially with Mike Norvell kind of establishing himself, they're here. As Coach O once said, we're coming. All right,
number 7.
This is a team that's just kind of crosses over Twitter and real life, and that's Texas A&M. Just the worst. We see it more than anybody just because we're with Casey. And we get blamed for it too. It's not our fault. If we would rather not talk about Texas A&M at all.
No, I rarely do.
It's just, and it really does cross over. Texas A&M alums are, if there was ever a ranking of true, you looked at somebody, or like a university who had alums who act just as you expect them to act, I think Texas A&M's top of the list.
I think what you're saying is if I just took 10 randomly sampled college football fans and put them on a line,
Yes.
pick out the Texas A&M fan without really knowing too much.
And the guy in the Masters this weekend, he was so Texas A&M. And then all the Texas A&M fans were tagging him like, oh, my God, I can't believe this. I get it. You're supporting the guy from your school. But I never saw Oklahoma State fans riding with – I guess they rode with Ricky Fowler a little bit. But Victor Hovland, they never really claimed. Also, his name was Sam Patterson, right?
Sam Bennett.
Sam Bennett.
Bennett. He looked so much like Dabo. I know I'm not the first one to say that, but he looked exactly like Dabo.
I didn't even know that. Go ahead. Number 6 or 5, maybe. I don't know.
This is
I don't know.
This is a fan base that's close to your heart, man. As close as it gets. Arkansas comes in at number 6.
There's 5 Twitter fan bases more annoying than Arkansas.
All right, maybe I'm going to move them up to 5.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I got to write them. Hold on. I'm going to put my notes app and I'm going to write down who I think the 5 are.
Okay.
So go ahead and talk about Arkansas.
Yes, I want you to do that. Arkansas, I actually kind of like them. I went head-to-head with them in the NCAA tournament. It was more basketball. But on the football side of things, man, I almost respect how annoying this fan base is when considering they went through, over this 10-year period we're talking about, more like 13, 14 years, they went through a 3-year period where they didn't win an SEC game. Like, other fan bases would just not exist. They would go off Twitter. They'd be like, yeah, I went to Arkansas. Like, I'm more a basketball fan than anything. But they stuck around.
It created, when they finally won a game, like Sam Pittman's first year, they went 3-7.
Yeah.
They acted like they went 10-2. It was crazy. When they finally started winning games, they acted like they were winning national titles.
And they were never that either. And so it's not like they were Alabama coming back from the dead.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 5.
So this is a fan base that maybe I should have put Arkansas here, but this is a fan base, and I think it was really off of 1 year. UCF needed to be on this list. They paraded around calling themselves national champions after, based off of a matrix called the Coley matrix, I think, that has nothing to do with the Coley that used to work here, but whoever the guy's name is I guess his last name's Coley, kind of like Ken Palm. This is the same matrix that said Notre Dame won the national championship the year that they lost to Alabama by 40, or it was 42-10, right? That was the final there?
Yeah, 42-14.
42-14. By 28 points they lost. So there you go. I never want to hear that. They should take it down off their stadium. Now, I get it. You've established yourself as a legit college football brand, and I wish you the best in the Big 12. You've become a lot more rational. But you had a run there that it was almost unbearable.
So they had a run like their football team where like, surprisingly, you could have voted them number 1 most annoying fan base in 2018, 2017.
Without a doubt.
And it's weird because other fan bases like Cincinnati, when they got good, and I know you hate Cincinnati, old hate, but Cincinnati didn't do that.
No, they didn't. They were very rational, Cincinnati. I was thinking about putting them as an honorable mention here. I can't even do that. I almost have gotten to the point where I've respected Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati's fan base is fine.
Yeah, and I get it. They made it to the dance, quote unquote. But next up, number 4.
Yeah.
Tennessee. This is a fan base that is
hold on, pause. You got 3 you got 3 fan bases more annoying than Tennessee?
This was a rough draft, but yes, I do.
No, I like it. It's your list. I'm just saying, wow.
This is but Tennessee, I mean, the run they had over just with Butch and then with Pruitt, and the run they had over COVID where they picked up like 4 commitments in a 3-day span, that was one of the greatest runs in the history of Twitter. You would have thought they picked up Cam Newton, Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, and Devonta Smith.
And they didn't sign. I don't think they signed to one of those guys.
Yeah, and they ended up having like the 13th ranked class in that class. Their fan base is something, and it really showed off on Twitter. And
to me, to me, they kind of lose points because they're the only fan base, I believe, that they try to be obnoxious. They want to be. They even say, "Oh, Tennessee, Vol Twitter, we're so
You're
awesome,
right.
we're so." They try to be obnoxious. They embrace it. They want to be that. And if you do that, you're too in on the joke.
Yeah, I'm with you there. They're acting up, and Arkansas Twitter has a little bit of that too.
A little bit, yeah. Arkansas Twitter really less than Tennessee Twitter. Arkansas has got about 10 guys that do the work of 200.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
not going to call out their names because give them the satisfaction, but they know who they are. Go ahead, number 3.
And sometimes there'll be guys that are like ESPN radio stations you've never heard of. It's like they shouldn't even put ESPN next to it because I know
ESPN Jonesboro.
Yeah, ESPN like affiliated. It's like no. You work for 1410 the fan. Like you don't work for ESPN. All right, number 3, Alabama. You had to put them up there. I really want to see what it would look like if they missed the playoffs this year, what their Twitter would look like.
I think we're on the cusp because they've been kind of lying they've kind of been in the same spot for a decade and a half, right? They've been just at the top of the sport as a football team. If they go down even a little, that Twitter fan base is going to melt down. What was it that you put out last week? Oh, when I said that they were the top 3 and they freaked out. They're a freak out's coming for Alabama whenever Saban leaves. Just don't know when it is.
And we saw. I mean, I was on the side with them, but we saw it during the basketball situation this year. They band together, and they really also their basketball Twitter. I put out a video on our Unnecessary Roughness during the SEC tournament. Or maybe it was the last weekend when Alabama and Auburn played for the last time in basketball this year. And they said Alabama and Auburn played in the same regional weekend.
Right. In Birmingham.
And there was a clip of somebody was recording somebody else texting, and it was like, I'm having a lot of fun. It would be a lot better if these Alabama basketball fans would shut up. I think they call them, what do you call rammers or something? What do you call them?
Something like that. Rammer jammers.
Yeah, like bammers would shut up. And I said, Alabama football fans have morphed into Alabama basketball fans, and it's not fun. They should not be allowed to have any joy in basketball. It's not fair.
Right. So 2-1. Let me just tell you, I wrote down 5 when you said there were 5 left. I had Alabama on the list. I had Tennessee on the list. I did not have UCF on the list. So I'm going to have somebody on this list that you don't have, at least one. Who's number 2?
All right, number 2, Michigan State.
All right, that's 3 that I had on the list.
Michigan State, and I believe
But is this a personal thing, Jack?
No. I believe I single-handedly ruined them. I ruined their fan base. I asked TJ. I was going to put them at 7, and TJ walked by me before I came in to record, and I was like, name the most annoying Big Ten Twitter fan base in football specifically. And he said just in general, Michigan State's not close. Everybody else, you can at least give them something like Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Michigan State, obviously, we'll talk about basketball. That's a different thing. But the football thing, and we're really at one bad season away from the most embarrassing run for a fan base in the history of, I think, college football.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into it with him, so I haven't really had the battles you've had, but I've seen your battles, and they've been something. And
I think we just are about to enter into the possibility, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, because I think there'll be kind of a dead cat bounce, which we saw from Michigan State last year when they went up against Illinois. It was pretty good. They won that game. And I think we may see a dead cat bounce from Michigan State, who maybe they'll go 7-5 this year. But does that justify all the talk coming that you mentioned? But
no.
All right, number 1, who do you think it's going to be?
I'm gonna hold it up I'm gonna hold the phone up to the screen. I wrote it down in big font.
I think you're going to get it.
It should be easy, right?
Yeah, it's Oklahoma. It's not close. Oklahoma fans have spent the past 6 months gaslighting us into saying it was okay that they went 5-7 last year.
Yes. It's
or
okay.
6-7.
Yeah.
They tried to gaslight us into saying that
first of all,
you can't
they came
do
into
that.
the season. They came into the season saying, Brent Venables, we're going to go 10-2, 11-1. We're going to be a playoff contender. We're going to be better. We're going to be better. We're going to be better. And now they're saying, oh, of course he went 6-6 in his first season. They didn't have any players.
Oh, shucks.
You idiots didn't say that before the season.
And they were saying, no, like, USC ain't going to be very, like, we're going to be better than Lincoln. And we're going to win this breakup. Now, the breakup's still to be determined because it's so long. But
Lincoln's got the lead.
A very substantial lead. And also, just how they gaslit us. They would send us stuff like, well, they lost all these transfers. Every stat we sent them suggested you still were a top 15 team, top 10 team in the country. And
every roster matrix in this country has them at like 9,
8, and
14. The worst, and they're a top 15 team no matter how you stack it talent wise. Yeah. And they lost it. Lincoln broke them.
Lincoln broke them in a way. Thank God they have the SEC thing. Because if they did not, I mean, Oklahoma football's always won. It's been 6 decades of excellence for them. This was one bad season, but just the way they gaslit us, and the fans were bad before this. They were bad. Yeah. Like that this wasn't anything new, but they just had a hell of a season from an annoying Twitter fan base, and they took the one spot, and I'm very confident in that one spot.
They had one of the all-time seasons. This was like LSU 2019 of Twitter fan bases. All right, are you ready for the creative rivalry? We'll circle back and I'll read all the creative rivalries that people gave us.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Challenge: create a new non-conference rivalry where 2 teams have to play every year. Think of big stakes and passionate fans. Example: Penn State versus Tennessee. Give us your best creative rivalry. All right. Dusty Perez says Wisconsin and Texas A&M would love to travel to Camp Randall every year.
I don't hate that. They're kind of not.
It's very random. That's a very random pair.
Yeah, they played in 2012 on ABC in week 2 once. It was a great game.
Mr. Perfect says Mississippi State versus Iowa, a.k.a. the Brandon Walker Bowl.
I would go to – that would be just – honorable mentions that were left out, Ohio State, Michigan.
Okay. All right. Yeah, hold on. So when you said that's 5, Ohio State was the 5th fan base I wrote that you didn't have in there.
I actually gave them a little bit of okay just based upon what this program has been forever.
Honorable mention has to be Michigan, I believe.
Yes.
Auburn.
Yep.
I'll tell you a fan base that's annoying but doesn't really get on my nerves. LSU is annoying, but LSU will also slap you on the back and be like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I had LSU, and at one point I had them at 5, and then they didn't make the list because I was like, have I ever really had an issue with LSU? No. Not really.
LSU fans, you'll say LSU stinks this year, and they'll say, oh, no, you're just wrong. Well, yeah, actually, we kind of stink. Yeah, you're right. Let's see. PD Beats says South Carolina against Southern Cal, USC versus USC.
All right. I don't hate it. It's just, does it have that much juice? No.
How many South Carolina versus Oregon States do you think we're going to have in here?
South Carolina versus Oregon? You mean Ohio State versus Oregon State?
No, I mean South Carolina versus Oregon State.
Why?
We're a fratty company. It's Cox versus Beavers.
I didn't even think of that, but the Cock Beaver Bowl would be. We could sponsor.
The matchup is all the time.
Oh man, I would love the Cock Beaver. You know what? That's the first spring game that needs to happen. The Cock Beaver Bowl every spring on April 20th.
All right, let's see. Purdue and UCF, says Josh Hurstfield. Not remotely close to each other, but the battle for the title of Space School and potential would be incredible and heated. Purdue's Spacey?
Yeah, Purdue had, what's his name go? The guy who punched somebody? He landed on the moon?
Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah. Purdue's like...
He punched somebody. Neil Armstrong, maybe?
Neil Armstrong went to Purdue. That's what it was.
Texas versus Clemson would be a fun rivalry to watch. Colton Kirby.
Yeah, I mean, it would kind of similar colors. I mean, both orange.
Carter Stevenson says UGA Clemson would be awesome to see every year. Agreed. Matt tweets by Matt G says Miami versus Washington. They have history. They kind of do. John Anthony says Florida State Auburn. Easy 3-hour drive and pretty common fan bases. Both cities are a blast on game day. See, he thinks like I think.
Yep.
Max says this may be cheating, but Cincinnati versus either UK or Louisville. Okay. A brand new one, Cincinnati or Purdue.
I like Cincinnati versus Louisville.
Yeah, that one kind of works.
They used to have a rivalry. They played in the bowl game. It's for something. I forget what it's named, but they have even a trophy.
Johnny Sucks at Gambling says West Virginia and Kentucky seem to be on equal ground. Clemson and Ohio State, FSU and LSU, Oregon and Texas A&M. How the hell are Texas A&M and Oregon on common ground? And Auburn and Oklahoma State. What?
I guess like little brothers in their states. But
let's see.
That doesn't really do it for me.
Million says Ohio State versus LSU. Michelle K says Michigan versus USC. Stooley Elijah, I think he's an Auburn fan, says Oklahoma State against Arkansas. Not really blowing my skirt up there.
No, it's not.
BL Lippert says Florida State and Michigan, great color game, great traditions, would be awesome.
Florida State and Michigan. What's the worst what are two fan bases we could pit against each other?
Oh, that's why I said Tennessee and Penn State.
Yeah.
Listen, Penn State wasn't on the annoying list because they really haven't had reason, but buddy, they could be there at any moment.
Arkansas against
any SEC school against any Big Ten school has potential to be annoying versus annoying. That's just the truth.
Are Arkansas and Oklahoma going to be in the same bubble?
Time. I just realized something. Just hold on. You gave me a list. I just realized the fan base and how they're not on your 10 list. I just will never know. Who do you think it is?
Who is it?
Jack. Clemson.
Oh, you see, you've gone to war with them. I haven't.
Clemson's Twitter fan base is
right.
The dumbest thing in the world.
It's a church.
They're a literal cult.
All right, that's Clemson would knock off some people, yeah.
Fair enough. Listen, you listed 10, you could list 30 and be fine. But Clemson would make my list all day, every day. Notre Dame in Texas, the Who Is Back rivalry, West Hammer. USC in Texas, the Skip Swin. Clemson versus LSU, the right for Death Valley. Davis Crocker says Tennessee against North Carolina. They share a border, and at one time Tennessee was NC territory before breaking off. Okay, now we're getting back into our territory days. Used to want Virginia Tech, especially after the Memphis coach went there, but they're just not high stakes right now. And North Carolina would be.
Yeah.
LSU, FSU, already doing 2 games. It feels like something worth doing more often. I agree. If they played every year, I wouldn't be mad. David Rosario says Miami, Florida, which is correct. Stepson says Mizzou versus Michigan, Battle of the Block M.
Okay.
Sure, that's something we're all dying for. Dino 10K, Minnesota versus North Dakota State. So if you bring in North Dakota State and make them a big-time school, Minnesota would make sense.
Yeah, and if you bring in North Dakota State as a whole, it just opens a lot of possibilities up north.
Ooh, Drunk Guy Sports. I think Kentucky versus Indiana would be nice. 2 basketball schools, states that border each other, and fans who don't like each other. That would kind of work.
Yes. Yeah, Kentucky, Indiana, yeah.
All right. LSU, Clemson, FSU, Utah, Battle of the Tribes. Okay. Alabama versus UAB.
No. That's been a rivalry forever. It's just off the field.
UCF versus Florida. That kind of works. Eventually, UCF's going to break through and make one of these teams a rival, right?
Well, that's been, remember, one of the things that they always would say was we can't schedule these teams because they don't give us a fair deal. Florida would want 2 home games for 1 away game.
Yeah. Again, that goes back to Florida being pussies.
Also, it's kind of, I'm the hot girl on the block.
Yeah.
You need to make me a good offer if you want to go on a date with me. I'm not just going to go with you for drinks. You got to buy me dinner.
I don't think you know what it's like being a hot girl, Jack.
Well, I was just formulating in my mind. By the way, that's not true.
It's 2023. You can be a hot girl.
I could be.
You get no surgery. You can be a hot girl in 5 minutes.
And then I would get a Bud Light sponsorship.
Yes, you would.
Yeah.
All right. Good place to end right there. Not that we do sponsorships on this show.
Yeah, no, we don't. Yeah. All right.
All right. Good stuff. We're going to end it right there. We'll be back next week. Casey Smith's graduation party for her son is next week. She won't be back, but soon she will be. So that is Unnecessary Roughness.